Hello, and welcome to Chapter 4. So, our first section of Chapter 4 is going to be 4.1, which is Writing and Graphing Inequalities. So, right now, I want to make sure all of you have your composition notebooks out, you have a writing utensil, and you are ready to write down everything that is on my screen. Again, feel free to pause as needed to get these notes down in your notebook. And again, this is the start of the new chapter, so make sure you are writing very neat and organized notes that will help you be successful this chapter. Okay, so our learning target for this section will be, I will be able to write and graph inequalities. So chapter 4, we're going to go a little bit fast because chapter 4 is just a direct add-on to chapter 3. So a lot of chapter 4 is going to be the same stuff in chapter 3. That's why I wanted us to focus so much on chapter 3. So we're going to jump in and you'll kind of see the similarities as we go. So first, I want to talk about inequality symbols. So rather than working with equations, which are equal signs, we're going to be working with inequalities, which as you can see down here, these are inequality symbols, okay? So the first one is right over here, and this means less than, okay? Or fewer than. That is what that means. And you probably remember learning about it as the alligator mouth, okay? And if the closed side of the alligator mouth is pointed that way, it means that it's less than or fewer than. So we're going to end up graphing it. And the way we graph that, if it's less than, it's going to be going towards the lesser numbers, which are over to that side. The next one is going to be is greater than or is more than, okay? And you'll notice that is the opposite way. All right, so it's going towards the greater numbers. Notice that these two over here on the left, they don't have a line underneath it. Because what that line means, this line right here, that line essentially means that it also can be equal to, okay? So that's what that line means, is that it also can be equal to, okay? And so if it does not have that line underneath, notice that that circle, when you graph it, stays open. It's an open circle, okay? So you can probably take a guess, but let's say we're talking about this one right here. This means is less than or equal to, or is at most, or you can also say it is no more than. But when you graph this one, it's going to be a closed circle, okay? And the reason it's a closed circle is because, it can be equal to that number, okay? So since it can be equal to that number, you want to use a closed circle because that means that number is included in the solution set. And then, of course, the next one is going to be is greater than or equal to, or is at most, is at least, or is no less than. So this is the language that you will want to kind of remember and use this chart that you have written down in your composition notebook to help you out as we go through. All right, so make sure you have that chart down. That's very important. Okay, let's go to example 1, writing an inequality. So a number q plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 7.9. Write this word sentence as an inequality. So a number q, that means we're going to write q, okay, plus 5. I know plus means addition, so I'm going to add 5 to it, is greater than or equal to. So what I'm going to want to do is this is going to tell me what inequality we're going to use. So I'm going to go up here to my chart and I'm going to look for which one says is greater than or equal to. Well, I see this one right here says is greater than or equal to. So I am going to use this symbol. So is greater than or equal to, and then negative 7.9. All right. And that is how we write an inequality. We take it step by step. We essentially change the words into an inequality. Okay. You can use that chart to help you for every single one of these until you're more comfortable with that language. But also remember that if the alligator mouth is open, that means that that's going to be the greater side, okay? And then also remember that if you have that line underneath it also means that it can be equal to, okay? So greater than or equal to. All right, so that's example 1. Let's go down and talk about a solution of an inequality. So I would like you to write this down because this is kind of the first time we're talking about this. But a solution of an inequality is a value that makes the inequality true. An inequality can have more than one solution. Oh, did everybody hear that? I want you to highlight it. An inequality can have more than one solution. This is key, okay? So you remember in chapter 3 when we'd get x equals 3, okay? When we're dealing with inequalities, we're talking about a solution set, which that means more than one number can be your solution, okay? It's a solution set. So notice down here, this inequality right here, okay? Value of x. So if you plug in -2 for where x is, so this goes back to just checking our work. If you plug in -2 where that x is, which is right here, and then you simplify it down. Well, -2 plus 2 is 0. Is 0 less than or equal to -1? Well, if you think about a number line, 0's here, -1's here. These are your lesser numbers. These are your greater numbers. So if they're saying that 0 is less than -1, that's not right because -1's on the left of 0. So no, that inequality is not true, which this means that -2 is not a solution. Okay, it's not in the solution set. Let's look at -3 down here. So -3, when you plug that into where x is, -3 plus 2 equals -1 when you simplify it. -1 is less than or equal to -1. Well, it's not less than, but the key piece right here is that there's that line underneath, which remember that line underneath means or equal to, okay? And that is in fact true. So yes, this is a solution. All right, and then down here, when you plug in -4, -4 plus 2 will be -2. -2 is in fact less than or equal to -1. So this is a solution as well. So you're going to have more than one solution. It's going to be a solution set. And we're going to kind of talk about that down below. But make sure that you have that chart down. And we're going to be practicing this a little bit more. So example 2, checking solutions. So when we check a solution, we're doing just what we did in chapter 3, which is essentially checking our work. So tell whether -2 is a solution of each inequality. To do that, you literally just plug in -2 to the variable. So I'm going to plug in -2 here and here, okay? So I'm going to write -2 rather than the y. -5 is greater than or equal to -6. Again, all I'm going to do is simplify down that left side. -2 minus 5 is going to give me -7 is greater than or equal to -6. Okay, -7 and -6. So 0's here. Let's say -6 is here, -7's here. Is -7 greater than -6? No, because it's on the left side, which that means it's lesser, okay? So this is not true. -2 is not a solution. So I'm going to write no. -2 is not a solution of that inequality. Now let's try B. So again, we literally just plug in for that variable. Don't forget your parentheses if the variable's next to the number. So we're going to plug in -2 is less than 14. Okay, I'm going to take my calculator because remember you can use calculators. -5.5 times -2 is going to give me a positive 11, okay? And a positive 11 is less than 14. Okay, is 11 less than 14? Yeah, I would agree. So I would say yes, that is a solution. -2 is a solution to that solution set. So when you're checking solutions, you literally plug it in and then you decide, is the inequality true? Okay, is it true? And then you put yes or no, and that's how you check. All right, let's go down to graphing an inequality. Okay, so we're going to do step-by-step guide. So when you are graphing an inequality, okay, first you need to draw your number line, okay? And we're going to have 0 here, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9. And then over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is what you're going to graph when you're graphing an inequality is you're going to graph that number that is there. So your point is going to be at -8. So I'm going to draw a circle there. Then you need to decide, is it an open or closed circle? Okay. And remember, an open circle means that there is no line underneath that inequality symbol. A closed filled in circle means that there is that line, which means that it is also equal to. So is there a line underneath this inequality? No. So we're going to leave this open, okay? So use an open circle since -8 is not a solution. And what that means is, y has to be greater than -8, okay? Y can't be equal to -8 because there's no line underneath. So that means -8's not technically a solution of this inequality. Okay, so the next thing you are going to do, your steps, is number 1, test a number to the left of -8. And what that means is you're going to write the inequality, okay? You're going to write y is greater than -8. So a number to the left, let's use -9, okay? So -9 is greater than -8. Is -9 greater than -8? No. No, it is not. So that tells me that everything to the left is not going to be a solution set, okay? So now, to be sure, we need to test a number to the right of -8. So we're going to write the inequality, and then you can literally choose any number. I'm going to choose 2 because that's on the right of -8. So 2. Is 2 greater than a -8? Yes, 2 is greater than a -8, okay? And remember, this inequality sign means that y is greater than -8, okay? So we want the greater numbers. So we check the numbers. We know that the ones to the right are a solution. So what that means now is we are going to shade to the right of that point, okay? And the shade is going to equal your solution set, okay? So shade equals the solution set, which means those are all the solutions to that inequality, okay? So you shade it, and then that is your graph. So the things with your graph that you want to make sure you have the open or closed circle correct. Make sure you test the 2 points on the left and the right, and then make sure you shade the correct side. All right. We will practice this more through our assignment, but make sure you have these down in your notes, and thank you for watching.